Welcome back. This is the Millennium Beat. I'm your host, Kevin James. On today's show, I have Evan Camacho, who is a true-blown Floridian. He was born and raised in DeLand, Florida. Currently, he's working in the auto body industry, and he's a youth director at Identity Church in Deltona, Florida. On today's show, you'll find out a little bit about his story and how he had a child at 19 years old, still in high school, and how God used that child to bring him closer to God himself and in a deeper walk. So stay tuned. A little brief message from our sponsor.
I would like to thank McLeod Painting Group of Vero Beach, Florida for sponsoring this week's show. They specialize in interior and exterior painting. They are licensed and insured with over 45 years of experience, expanding over 3 generations. Give them a call at 772-501-0324 and tell them that Kevin James sent you. Again, that number is 772-501-0324.
All right, let's get into the interview in 60 seconds.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the Millennium Beat. I'm your host, Kevin James. I'm here with Evan Camacho, and we're going to talk a little bit about his life. He's going to tell you where he came from and basically where he's going. So, Evan, thanks for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm glad to have you. You went to a class called Oxpen at Identity Church.
Yes, I did.
And but you were speaking a little bit before that, weren't you? I know.
Over the years, I've just find myself speaking, and
that's where the opportunity opened up.
Yeah.
So you went to Oxpen. Oxpen is a class that teaches you a little bit more. And this one that you went to, because I've been to a few others, It was a little short and a little brief. It wasn't as long. And you didn't get as long of time as some of the other classes have had. So one of the things I would talk to Pastor Michael at Identity Church and then whoever will be doing the next Oxpen, that will be part of their requirement. Basically is the giving them real world experience.
Yeah.
So, and I have, as I said, I have this podcast called The Millennium Beat, which just tells people stories and it encourages them around the world. So it gives you an opportunity to use some of the stuff that you have learned in class in a world environment.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to start you with a question, and then you pick up from there, and I'll interject when I need to. But basically, this show is you, and because it's your life, and who knows your life better than yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
So what I want to do is I always tell people, start when they were wee little kids. Like basically, let's start off from birth.
Okay.
And take your time. Let me know if we're running out of time, and I also you can tell if it starts dragging that we need to fix it.
Yeah.
I'm like the boat that has that what they call a rudder. I share this information. What's going on. So this is the most I'm talking, but basically it's going to be you. So let's go to that question: is where did Evan come from?
So the story of my life. I was actually born in DeLand.
Where?
Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a true Floridian.
Yeah, I'm bad to the bone Floridian. But I've lived in DeBerry, Orange City, Deltona, DeLand. Of just the surrounding neighborhood, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, it's a I don't know if it's a 5 city or something like that. I know when I first moved up here, basically they're all DeLand, Deltona, Orange City, DeBerry, and where I live is Lake Helen, so there's 5, which is all the basic same thing. When I grew up, I lived in a town called Fitchburg, which is the sister town was Leominster. We were like rivals.
I was there, yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, right. That's right. You did tell me that. So we were rivals. It was always the football game, Fitchburg against Leominster.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So you grew up here. That's interesting. Yeah. So
I grew up here, so
and
I know this like the back of my hand.
So it took me a while. Everybody, when I first came here, 7 years, it's almost been 7 years. I came here in 16, and people were going, okay, go down to Johnson Road, take a right at Ralph Road, and go down to Laurie Road. I go, forget it. Let me use my GPS.
You know what though? When I run into the situation like that where I'm in Deltona and I run into a road where I haven't been.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking in amazement, like really, I didn't know this was here.
I do that a lot on delivering food. I always will look, and my brain is it's like a chess game. Okay. I like to see from the time I pick up to the food and to where I'm going. I kind of know like I'm going to take these roads. And now, as I said, I've been doing this for 5 years. I get to know that kind of things. But have you ever lived outside of this area?
I've traveled. I've never lived. Yeah,
you never lived. So you've been born and raised here.
Yeah.
You are a true Floridian.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Do you?
I do.
Okay. Well, I guess it's the old expression is you haven't never seen anything. I mean, you've seen it by traveling.
Yeah.
But you never lived anywhere, so it's like snow.
I mean, yeah.
Have you seen snow?
Yeah, when I was younger.
When you were younger, so you travel up north.
Yeah.
Up north New England area or like Colorado area?
So we've been to. I was in the city when I was younger. I've been to upstate New York.
Okay.
Niagara Falls.
I've been there. Yeah.
I've been to my stepmom's family. My dad's from the city, New York City.
New York City. Okay.
My stepmom's family, she's from Michigan, so we did a couple of trips to Michigan.
I've been there. Rapids.
Yeah, that was interesting. We drove too, so it was a journey. It was a journey.
That's a real journey.
And imagine that, a family trip in one car doing that. So,
how many were in the family at the time?
It was me, my sister, my brother, my other brother, stepmom, my dad.
Okay.
So, and we did that. I think I've been to Missouri too.
Missouri.
For a family reunion.
And, I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, we did a family reunion. That was pretty cool on my stepmom's side of the family.
Okay.
Been to Virginia. I have a grandmother who lives out there, and we've done. I love it.
Like to travel.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been down all the way to Canada.
Okay.
All the way to Florida, obviously, Key West. So
yeah.
I've been all the way up every state on the East Coast. I think I've been Ohio.
Okay.
And then obviously Louisiana I've been to, and then Jackson, Mississippi, been there, and then Dallas, Texas.
Gotcha.
And then also I flew out a few years ago. I had a free flight, and I flew out to Scottsdale, Arizona. That was interesting. They had fires at the Grand Canyon a few years earlier, and everything was blackened and stuff like that. We had that on the East Coast here too a couple of years ago. Probably about 10 or so. We had fires.
You know what I've noticed though is when you travel, you feel so small.
Yeah.
Because this is, you've been here for a while, I've been here for a while, and this is kind of all we know right now.
Right.
And then when we take that travel, leap, whatever, you just feel like, wow. And there's so much more.
Well, there's beauty in it's like when I first moved, or before I moved to Florida, there was beauty here. There's still beauty, but you get so natural, you get used to it because you see it all the time.
That's true.
It's like people that live near the Grand Canyon. Oh, nothing. It's the Grand Canyon. No big deal. Or like the ocean. I've lived many years that I've lived right next to the ocean, and a lot of times I don't even go.
Yeah.
But when I first moved here in Florida back in the early 90s, I was at the beach or at the pool all the time, And now the only time I ever go to the beach is when I'm doing photography. If I'm doing some school picture or something like that for some kid.
Yeah.
And we have a beach shot, and then we have we're in Vero Beach. We had one side was the beach, and the other side was kind of like a woody New England looking.
Okay.
The trees and paths, and so we could do, and it had a bridge. It was pretty cool. But we kind of take things for granted a little bit when we live somewhere.
But you know what though? What I found out over the years is Florida has a lot.
Oh yeah.
But because we're in this cycle of going to work, weekends we chill out, go to work, cycle, right?
Right.
We don't realize how much we have here, and just how many springs we have here. And how many nature I'm a nature guy.
Oh yeah.
So I was just at Gemini Springs this morning.
Oh wow.
And just walking around and seeing new things and just being amazed with like, this is here, but I don't experience it.
Right. Because again, as you said, we're working, and we don't have time. The old expression is stop to smell the roses.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're working all the time. That's why a lot of times when people retire, they get like an RV, or a coach or something like that. Like I'm going to do and go see things. Like my goal is, doing those trips that we talked earlier on pre-show.
Yeah.
But also is I want to go see, I call it the Ark of the Covenant, but it's not the Ark of the Covenant. It's Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
And I think that's in Kentucky.
Definitely.
So that's going to be one of my trips. And then a friend of mine, where I store the coach when I'm not using it in Vero, he and his wife want to go to, not Branson. Well, I'm going to go to Branson. They want to go to Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
And then, he's a painter and he says, sure you can get the time off? It says when you're self-employed, it's hard to take time off.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's always work.
Yeah.
So, but I think he's probably not listening to this, but I think his wife wants to go.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter how much work he has to do. His wife wants to go.
He's going to go.
He's going to go. So, and it's funny, his wife, when they were younger, they had not probably the size of what my 40-footer. They probably had a smaller one, but their mother, and I don't know if it was her and her brother, but they used to travel a lot.
Yeah.
Go to different places. So it's a lot for her to say, hey, I want to go to Memphis,
Yeah,
because they want. I've been through Memphis. I see more Elvis stuff in Nashville because I've been to Nashville a few times.
Yeah.
But Memphis is where Graceland is, so I've been by there driving a bus.
Okay.
But, in general, it's, it's pretty cool. And I'm going to do a New England trip.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite my sister and her brother, that's me, her husband, to go do a New England trip. And I'm going to do some interviews, maybe one up, one down, and then do a couple when I'm up there. Just go see family.
Yeah.
I always say one last time because it's like I don't get to travel. I'm not traveling that much, other than for business. I mean, if you're close by, then I'll meet up with you.
Yeah.
But so you like to travel. You grew up here in Florida. You grew up in this area, which is the Deltona, DeLand, Lake Helen. Lake Helen, and then DeBerry.
Yeah.
And you like it. And you said you like it.
I like it. I like. Well, speaking of the whole traveling, and you'll probably switch up where we go. But just the fact of that I have traveled, I was able to do these things.
Right.
And just see what's out there, and I like it.
Okay.
I do.
And it depends on you come from. If you ask me, if you were interviewing me and said, do you like it here? I go, no.
Yeah.
And if I ever move, like they always say when they ask people from the north, did you move because you didn't like the cold and the snow and stuff like that? So if you ask me that question, I go, no. But if I leave Florida, that will be the reason why I leave it. I hate it. When I was making really good money, I could care less because I could jump on a plane, fly to New England. We had a hurricane back, I don't know if you remember, in 2004.
Yeah.
On the East Coast. We had 2 hurricanes in a row. I went through the first one. The second one said, heck no, I ain't staying. I got a flight and went back I was watching the hurricane from my sister's living room in Massachusetts because I was not going through another one.
Yeah.
I just went through one 2 weeks ago. No power for a week. And speaking of that, we're probably getting to have, by the time this one here, we'll know what happened because this won't here for a while because I'm adding it to the collection of stuff that I've done. But, you got to, you've seen the snow and stuff, but you didn't grow up in it.
Yeah.
So you don't have a real hatred for it. I don't, I guess, like I always say, I've been living here in 30 years of summer where you live in t-shirts and shorts, even going to church.
Yeah.
It's not very formalized because it's a very hot state, not just the temperature, but the humidity.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me is the humidity.
Well, don't get me wrong. Don't think that when it's hot, I'm out there enjoying. I do. You go to the beach and walk around, but it does get hot, and sometimes when I'm at the job,
yeah, it does.
I'm like,
well, here too in this part of the country because we're about 30 miles from Orlando, a mile wise. Driving wise is a whole nother story. It's about I can get to the airport in about 50 minutes, about an hour. depending if traffic's. I've gone to Lake Mary's, take me 2 hours one time.
Yeah.
Because of traffic. I'm
Yeah,
I-4.
I-4
is one of the worst, and it's got worse, more worse, if that's a good word. Sorry, you English people out there are saying, well, it's not speaking correct English. Sorry about that. It's a little bit different. And you said you enjoyed it. So tell me a little bit about what it was like for you for a little Evan growing up in this area. What was it like?
It was cool. You know, it was my mom and my dad. I was brought up in separate households.
Okay.
So it was
Were your parents when you were a kid divorced or just separated?
Yeah, they never got married.
Oh, they never got married. Okay.
I don't have really recognition of them together. So this is just what I grew up. That's how
it was.
To me, this is what it is. So, you know, I would be at my mom's house on the weekends, my dad's house throughout the week for school.
Okay.
Which was pretty cool because my dad kept me in check for school to keep me in line, you know?
Okay, it's good.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that, and it's interesting. It's an interesting journey. You realize what you can get away with at one house versus the other house, and you can become very
manipulated.
Yeah. As a child.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking you were going to say that. You know, I mean, even when people are married in the same house, you know, dad would do it this way, and you know, I'm not dad, I'm mom, you know, or your mom is sweet on you and lets you get away with it, but dad won't, you know, and it's worse when you're in two different houses.
I mean, well, yeah, you master it, you know.
Oh yeah,
and
kids are a master of, and you know that. We'll get into it later on in our conversation, but you deal with teens. And I've dealt with teens forever myself too, so we're on the same topic there, or subject.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so you're living in two different houses.
Yeah.
Must have been interesting during the holidays.
I mean, that was the nice part of it. I guess you get a double Christmas.
Double Christmas, double birthday.
Yeah, and then you know, Thanksgiving. What house? That was another battle. It's like, what house
do you go to?
Do I go to?
Yeah, a lot of times when people get married, they'll do like, okay, we'll go to your parents for Thanksgiving, but you go to mine.
There's like
Christmas.
A deal that they make. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'll have them for like you just said.
It's the same. Yeah, a lot of times I did that down in Vero. I go, okay, I went to my pastor's house for Thanksgiving and my friend's house for Christmas. You know?
Yeah.
It's like somebody's got to take them. Because I was down here by myself pretty much at that time. After my mother moved up to New England, or back to New England.
Okay.
Before she died, I was down here and just had my friends, and that was it.
Yeah.
So you were bouncing between the houses for the holidays and stuff like that. What was the barometer on the spiritual level of things at that time when you were between the two houses when you were younger?
Okay.
Where were you? Like I grew up, I was an altar boy in a Catholic church for up to my high school years. What was your status at that time?
So at that time, growing up, my dad, he wasn't a churchgoer.
Okay.
My mom, she would go. I remember going to church with her, and
right, because she had the weekends. Your dad had the weekdays.
Yeah.
So you really didn't go to church during the weekday anyway.
Exactly.
So your mother would go once in a while.
There was times where it'd be like consistent, where I remember going, you know, to we went to Journey Church in Orange City. I think it's Journey now.
I don't know.
It probably wasn't at that time.
Except for the one that I work at.
There was one in Sanford. We used to go to Benny Hinn's brother, Sammy Hinn.
Sammy Hinn, yep. That I know the name.
Yeah, we used to go to that one. So I remember Trinity right down the street.
That name I've heard.
So little Faith World. It was in like Orlando or whatever. I remember little glimpses of church.
Okay.
So that's kind of what held me down. That's kind of what anchored me when I was doing things, I guess, that I shouldn't have been doing. Like, I had that in me. You know what I'm saying? Guided me and stuff like that.
So your mother gave you a little bit of, you know, quote unquote here, of religion of some sort compared to where your dad didn't go to Wednesday services or anything like that. So, all right. So that's when you did go to the church, how much did that have an effect on you? Did it have a positive effect, a negative, or mediocre?
One thing about my mom, though, even when she wasn't going to church, she was very faith-led.
Okay.
And trying to hear the Spirit of God, and that's what she would always pray for her children, is that we, even if we didn't go to church, that we could still be open to hear the Spirit of God.
Good.
And so what were you saying though?
Well, it was basically, was it a positive? Was church a positive thing on you, or because sometimes when you drug to church, now you, as your mother didn't drug you, or people also call drag you to church, and then they resent it, and stuff like that. But what was your life? As I said, I grew up as a Catholic altar boy, all the way through, I think, to almost my senior year of high school. So that's all I knew.
Yeah.
I know that I knew Jesus, but I didn't know Jesus.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, it's so, be going to church, you did hear some messages and stuff like that. And you probably, because you're a kid, probably in children's church and stuff like that. So,
I mean, I had a good experience, at least from where I was at. But that, like I said, once I hit my teenage years, we didn't go to church anymore.
No. Your mother didn't.
Yeah, when my mom met my stepdad, it was like I started doing baseball and stuff like that.
Sports and activities.
So we started doing those things.
So church was kind of pushed to the backside.
But that was always instilled in us. So this is why I kind of have a passion for the kids here and the youth here, because don't underestimate the power of a seed.
Right.
Because even when I was doing, when I was smoking and drinking and stuff like that at an early age,
right,
I knew what I was doing was wrong because I had that seed and
on that foundation.
Yeah,
you had a foundation of Christianity and what was right and wrong, and you kind of knew that you were not doing right.
Exactly.
So, so that was your teenage, up to your teenage years. Were you a rebellious teenager, or are you just a normal, teenager? Because you did say something about smoking, I think.
Smoking, yeah.
Drinking.
But I wouldn't say I was rebellious towards my parents.
Right.
But I was a sneaky kid. I'll just throw myself out there.
Sneaky.
I was very sneaky.
Evan.
I'd sneak out at night. I would do things at school that I shouldn't have been doing. I would just sneaky. You know what I'm saying?
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of memories.
A lot of memories. Some that you don't want to remember, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So okay, so basically you're a teenager doing that, and then you go through high school. What was high school like for Evan?
Pine Ridge High School.
Was it the high school, Pine Ridge? The only one I know is the one over
Deltona.
Yeah, the one next to
University.
Oh yeah, well that's a new one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a new one. The other one is over going up I-4 and take a right on 472.
Okay.
And then go over near there on the new hospital.
Yeah. Okay.
Halifax.
Yeah.
And it's on the right hand side.
Deltona High. Yeah.
I think that's Deltona High School, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you get to University High School, and I don't know how many high schools are in the city.
It's about universities are in the city. Deltona has 2.
Deltona.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like in school? I mean, you said from an early conversation that with you like sports. So were you into sports in high school?
So yeah. My teenage years, I was into baseball. And I really, that was one thing that God blessed me with, was with a good stepdad.
Okay.
So I believe if I wasn't full time in baseball,
right,
I would have been doing some other things.
So really would regret.
Yeah. So I kind of I look at my life and I thank God that He put certain people in my life. So yeah, I started freshman year. I was into baseball, as I was saying. I tried out for the baseball team.
Okay.
I got on the team, and by the end of the season, I was in varsity. I was pretty good. I'll just say it like that. I was pretty good.
That's good.
So, but I stopped playing baseball, man, because I had an uncle who used to live with us, and he passed away on us. It was so, as a teenager,
right? I
took it hard.
Yeah,
I really did.
And you were must have been close to him because he lived with.
I seen him every day.
You've seen him every day, yeah.
So when he passed away, it kind of like shook my world, and that's when I really started being more depressed or stressed out, as you would say, and just went into this darkness, I guess.
Oh wow. Huh. It's funny how we have all parallel kind of connection in a sense, because I started in junior high. I started playing soccer.
Yeah.
I was a soccer, not a baseball person. I did play baseball, the minor leagues, until I didn't get picked for the major leagues. I mean, we're talking, I don't know how old you are, 9 or 10 years old, because another Kevin Kelly got picked, and I always say he stole my position. I played minor leagues for a while, but then most of it was soccer, and I did that freshman year. I mean, no, junior high. Freshman year, I decided to go out for cross country.
Okay.
And he said, Coach, well, come and see, Yeah. So I went and I watched. I was out there and I seen them playing soccer, and I go, that's what I really want to do. So,
wow. Okay.
So I went back and I played freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year of first couple of years JV, then varsity. I think I've only scored once, and that's when I went back to help out the JVs, because I was a halfback, so I wasn't really scoring position. You could score, but instead of a front line, So, but and that's what I did. I did that kind of stuff in high school, and then senior year I didn't do anything sports wise. I became the manager of the yearbook, and saying that I did the best job ever.
Hey,
It was a record. Yearbooks were $5 for. And they had, and then gold name on their name on it. And we raised so much money that our yearbooks were free. I don't think anybody's ever caught up to that. And 40 years.
That's for the books.
Yeah. Because I knew people in business, and everybody donated. And as I said, I was the yearbook manager.
But you know what? That doesn't take me by surprise.
No,
it doesn't. The way you articulate yourself and the way you handle yourself and how you do what you do at the church here. I'm not totally disciplined on things, but when I set my mind or I have a goal, nothing's going to stop me. I'm not perfect. I have like a lot of Christians, you go through things, like I was telling somebody, I said, I just get tired. I just want to quit. Yes. So it feels
in life, there's things that are not perfect. We have an adversary. Yeah. And then we also have a person that's against us, it's just, that's the way it is, So you went through high school, and now there's still no major, for lack of better words, religion in your life at that time, right? Going through all the way through 4 years of high school, or is there somewhere in high school?
At that time, no. Middle school, I forgot when we stopped going to church.
You said that earlier that you stopped. But going through high school, see, as I said, I became a Christian at an Amway convention, and it was Labor Day weekend, 1981.
Yeah,
I was in North Carolina at a convention, and we had a Sunday service, and that's where. But I was going to become a senior. That was my start of my senior year, because Labor Day weekend, then school started after that.
Okay.
So you went basically through all high school, and there was no born again experience basically at that time.
At that time, no. But you know what I did? I believed.
You believed.
I had.
Right. Yeah, you had that little mustard seed.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, from high school, did you go to college or just went to the trade field and start working?
No. So I was. It's funny. High school, right? When you graduate, normally a lot of kids take that summer off,
right,
to think about life.
Right.
What am I gonna do?
I'm done with school.
Or I'm done with school. Let me go work or whatever. So that, right when I graduated, I found out I was gonna have a son. So it was like that. That's where the gear shifted.
Right. And how old were you at that time?
I was 19.
19.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to become a papa at 19 years old. Obviously, you're not married.
I wasn't married, no.
And you had the baby, which is a good thing. You didn't take the route. I don't know. Was there ever talk about abortions or anything like that?
At that time, no. Previous.
I know.
Well, at that time with her, no.
No.
That wasn't even a thought. It was like, let me. And I was in fear. I was nervous. That was really my cry out to God, because I'm young. I'm like, man, what am I gonna do with my life? And then I got hit with that. And she was actually in Massachusetts. Speaking of Mass,
okay,
she has family in Mass, so she was in Massachusetts, and she sent me a text. I guess she went to the hospital because wasn't, you know, I start feeling sick and stuff.
Morning sickness and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, she sent me that, and I was just like, I didn't know how to take it. Then I'm thinking to my dad, I had so much of a fear of my dad. That was one thing that was hard for me. No, this is my actual dad.
Oh, actual dad. Okay.
So that was one thing that was kind of hard for me. But you know what he did? He embraced me. And when my son was born, we lived with my dad for like 6 months.
Now you said we is her too?
She came down.
Okay, she came down.
Yeah. I got her down. And 6 months in the house, and then I said, we gotta figure something out. So then we moved out, got our own place.
So you get your own place.
Yeah.
So now, how long were you with her?
Before that, only like it had to be my senior year.
So basically, you had a short relationship.
It was a short relationship.
Let's say dating relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously, well, I should not say obviously. I didn't know that you didn't take the marriage route.
No, we didn't. We didn't even marry afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes some people do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying some people.
But we did. I will say this. I don't want to cut you short. We did when the baby was coming. We did consider it.
Okay.
Because we didn't want people to view it negatively, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, that's what people do. You know? Do I believe that it should be done that way? Nah. You know? But we did consider that. Like, let's get married before this child comes. And never got to that.
Never got to that. So, all right. So you basically live together.
Yeah.
Raising a child, a boy. How long was that? How long did you do that for?
She left.
She just had enough with you. I'm done.
She left. 2019.
She took the child.
Yeah.
She took the boy.
2019. So we lived with each other for years. Years.
And it wasn't gonna work. There was no marriage down the street, you know. So I mean,
it was difficult. I've learned a lot looking back.
Life changes once you have, you're a dad now. You're 19. I know I've never been a father. I've dealt with kids.
Yeah.
I dealt with kids that were like my kids, but I've never had one. So, but yeah, 19 years old. I think I was so naive. As I said, I went to a Catholic school. I didn't know nothing about anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think God spared me that because I probably could have been easily be like you, like a dad.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So I mean,
you know what though? It kind of, God used my son because the route that I was going.
Right.
If my son wasn't born, I think God used my son to straighten me out.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when I really went to God.
Right.
That's when I started really going to church again.
Okay.
So I used to go to Trinity Church.
Right.
If I wouldn't have found that out, I don't know where I would be.
Mm.
Because like I said, at that time, my frame of thought, how I viewed people and how I was selfish and conceited and all these things. I'm over here going to work to provide for diapers.
Right.
Provide for this, provide for that. And my friends, they're going clubbing, they're going to parties, they're doing this, they're doing that.
Yeah.
So it was like God was using my son to keep me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So as I look back, I see that. But at the time, I didn't see that.
Right. Hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah.
I mean, so you go, and that was so basically the early 20s were being a father, living with this girl to take care of the child, your child.
Yeah.
You said she moved out. Now, obviously, did she take the child with her, or did she leave it with you? Back when you.
What do I remember? She left to her first little dabble. She left to Kissimmee.
Okay.
And that was weird.
Hmm.
Yeah, she moved in with some friend, and then she really took the leap and went to Puerto Rico, and then we had it to where he was going to school with me,
right?
But then he started going to school with her.
Okay.
So
now she has full custody of him now, or you have joint custody?
Right now we don't have anything legal,
but
we're good.
We're good.
Before I got here, I was on the phone with her and my son, so we're good. And I don't ever think we'll ever get to that route.
Legal wise.
Yeah, yeah.
You have this, and then, okay.
Yeah, I feel like
So
we should be able to be responsible enough to
That's good.
Have communication, open communication. And
good.
Listen, we got to be on fair grounds because we're going to deal with each other for the rest of our lives.
Right.
You know? So,
yeah, that's the thing as well. You make that decision. It's like we're talking about debt. It's easy to go in debt overnight, but it takes a lot of discipline and work to get out of debt.
That's true.
You know, it's like we can have the fun, the party that night, but then we have to pay the piper. You know, we have to deal with what we just did last night.
Exactly.
And you know, in this case, God used it, which is good.
Yeah.
So he's now drawing you a little bit more into a relationship with him now. See, one of the things you have an advantage over me is when you're a father, you get to understand the relationship between a father and a son.
Definitely.
Better than somebody like myself who only knows the son real part of it, doesn't know the father.
Yeah.
In that sense, because I'm not a father. But I know parents will do anything for their kids. You know, they will give their own life for it, you know, for their kids. It's just the way it is. And it's something that you have over people that don't have kids. That
was one thing. And I'll tell you because, like you just said, I do kind of have that advantage. But the only thing that I'll say to that, we were speaking about Oxpen earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I spoke in the microphone in Oxpen when we were doing a Prodigal Son series.
Oh, yes.
You remember that?
Yeah.
So we were doing that and I told my son in the microphone, he wasn't there, but I said, there's nothing that you can do that can get you for me to love you less.
Right.
There's nothing. I've chosen to love you.
Right. Just like God has chosen to love us.
Yeah. The way you treat me, it's not conditional. You know what I mean? It's
well, that's why a lot of times when a kid goes awry and becomes a murderer or something like that, and the parent still loves them.
Yeah.
You know, it's because they're a parent. You know, I mean, even though the kid has done wrong. You know, I mean, nothing in their eyes is going to change the fact that that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's like God. As I said, he looks at us and we're his children. And we don't have to earn his love. We don't have to work for his love. It is unconditional, agape love.
Yeah.
And we screw up, but God still loves us. He's not going to say, well, you made a mistake. You had a kid, you weren't married, slap. You're not my son anymore. No, you're still his son. You know, so that's the advantage a little bit when you, as I said, when you have a kid, you that will come to your mind a little bit more.
And I will say this is another thing that highlights the jealousy of a father.
Mm-hmm.
When I spend time with my son and he's more focused on, nowadays we have the tablets, the phones.
Oh yeah.
You know, that
social media.
That pull from his attention. And sometimes it aggravates me as a father because I want that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the same way with God, when we're distracted and we're doing these things that are just throwing our focus off from Him, I understand the jealousy of God in that way.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, I'm a cat person. You know, unfortunately, I love dogs, but my lifestyle, I would probably kill a dog. I'm like a grandparent. I love going over to Pastor Charlie and Susie's house where they have Gracie, you know, and you can love on the dog and then go home, you know. It's like you get that kind of like grandparent, you know, like I get the kids and then I can go home and go back to the normal life, you know. Dealing with God and stuff, you're right. You know, we do things that we don't give them attention or give him the attention that we need to. He wants us to just to, you know, jump up on his lap and crawl up and just, you know, fall asleep, you know, and just love on us, you know, and we're like, it's funny. I don't know the name of the song, but it's like, with his father's growing up and he doesn't have time. I don't know if it's Jim Croce or not, but Cat's in the Cradle. I think that's the name of the song. You ever heard that song? And it talks about him growing up and not having time with his father. And because he said, I want to grow up to be like you, Dad. That's part of the song. And then he has a kid, and he calls him, hey, I'm retired, let's hang out. No, I'm sorry, Dad, I got to do this. Can I borrow the car keys? And, you know, and he says, I just think back that he grew up like me, you know, because he was too busy. And, you know, you go through life, and we have to make the times, whether it's human or dealing with a God, is we have to make the time to spend with them. And, you know, and he wants to be, you know, and I mean, he loves every one of his children all the same.
Exactly.
Some people say that, I'm the special one, or I'm the, what it is, I don't know, Charlie says.
The favorite.
I'm the favorite,
Yeah.
God, in reality, I know what he's saying, but in reality, God does not have any single favorites. He loves everyone equally, good, bad, and ugly, it's like he loves us all. So that was cool. God used that situation with your child, gave you a little bit of experience about what his love is for you. So now he's drawing you closer. He's getting those little seeds. Let's look at it this way. What made you, as a business term, sign the dotted line? Yeah. What was the point? What was going on in your mind, in your heart, to say, Lord, I need you. Come into my life. Help me change. Help me become a better person. Let me love you more. Let me understand your love. What brought you to that situation?
So what I was saying before was the news, the fact that when she let me know that I was going to be a father, it hit me.
Right.
I've never had anything probably hit me heavy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had really no direction for my life. I was kind of one of those guys that, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I really didn't. So yeah, at that time, I was lost. I didn't have, like I said, no direction.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing that, God, I need your help.
Right.
If you are who you say you are, and all these stories we hear in the Bible, and all these lives that you've changed, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
I really need that.
Okay.
So when I was able to surrender to that, that's when I started seeing my life change.
Okay.
And I really started taking this thing serious,
Mm-hmm.
because like I said, we did move out. So
right.
when we moved out, I knew that we were moving out of my dad's household, and I was going to have to start forming some guidelines,
mm-hmm.
of how my household's going to be ran. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I needed that. I needed that help.
Without knowing this, you were learning how to be the king of your house.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sure you're learning how to be the priest of the house.
Yeah.
At the same time. So God used that situation, and now you surrendered your life totally to him. So what's been going on since then to now? What's been going on in your life?
It's been an interesting journey,
Uh-huh. Well, highlight some of them. Good? Ugly?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. I've learned to give grace.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned not to be so religious.
Okay.
I've learned, as we've been learning recently, the measure that you give is the measure that's given back to you.
Okay.
Not to be so judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned what true love is. Is really just an action. I know feelings can. You're one day you're on a mountain, the next day you're in a valley.
Yeah.
Your feelings are just swayed.
Oh yeah.
But just
our emotions.
Yeah, just choosing what you really if you say you love somebody, are your actions showing, right? I've learned fatherhood, the hurt of a father. I've learned friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on a journey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all are. And the thing about it is, God's always there because he never leaves us or forsakes us. So he's constantly holding our hand. It's like that beach picture, like, why is there two sets of prints and then one?
Yeah.
It's because at that time God carries us. And we are emotional beings, and we go through emotion, and we just keep pressing on and going through the situation. Now, I know, as I said, I know a little bit about your life, and I know the fact that it's been about a year now or so where you kind of like were dubbed the the youth minister, the youth pastor at Identity Church. I mean, it's probably been a year, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Something like that. So what made you kind of go in that direction? Because I'm sure you didn't think about that like 5 years ago.
You know what? If you would have told me this is the way my life's gonna go, I would have probably laughed.
I laughed. This is no way.
How would you connect the dots?
Right.
But yeah, I just like I was saying, one thing that I guess I struggle with is and I'll just be straight up honest, is stress.
Right.
Is loneliness and feeling so alone, and that was one thing I guess that I would go to drugs for. because of that. So when God was able to fill that void and I was going to God,
mm-hmm.
it helped me out a lot. And just to see God's work in my life and that I don't know why, but his love, we were talking about his love. But in my mind, right, in my feelings, I don't know why he still is working in my life, but he just chooses to do so. So when I see, like, when I'm just given opportunities and given doors to walk through, he always lets me know that he's with me. And when I need it, that encouragement, when I need that, is this you, Lord? And just to see the opportunities he's placed in front of my life, and then coming here, and how I got here, that's another thing. And just being here and being accepted and seeing his spirit move, and then given this opportunity to lead the youth, was just an honor, And I was like, this is something I have to do.
Right.
So I chose to be obedient to it.
That's cool. And as far as I can tell and what I hear, the kids love you, so.
Yeah, I love them too.
I've dealt with the youth ministry since I've been in Florida for like 30 years.
Yeah.
I was on the youth staff, and then I worked with the youth camp and counselors, high school, not high school counselors, well, some of them were, but most of them were college students. And so I've been doing that for, not lately, not since I moved up here, but I've been there, and I understand where you're coming from. You know? So it's really cool. Let's go in the direction of, and wrapping it up here. Where do you see, it's like a job interview, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Right now, because again, it's probably going to change, because you didn't think a few years ago that you were going to be a youth leader, Where do you think God's taking you? What direction is he taking you? Some of the things that he's showing you, kind of giving you a little bit of a path. Yeah. What's your path, think, right now for the next couple of years?
As of right now, so let's see. I'll just start with this. I recently came out with a book.
Oh.
A children's book. It's a spoken word. It's like Dr. Seuss. You know how you would read Dr. Seuss and it rhymes?
Right, yeah.
So it's 2 stories in one book. And I see that as opening a door for me, for more opportunity for other children, other youth. I don't know how that looks like. I don't know what that looks like.
Right.
But maybe if I take a Sunday out to go visit another church,
right.
To do, I don't know. I really don't know.
The vision is like the seed has been planted.
Yeah.
So I got to put you on the spot a little bit. I know that you are kind of a rapper.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you know off the top of your head? Anything that you can share with the audience? A little rap. Doesn't have to be long. Anything? Something that you might remember. If you don't remember it all, but just remember, right? Sing or not sing, but rap the part that you do know.
So I'll just say this: there is no other name given among men whereby we must be saved. So the praise is for him. In the days of my sin, I was blind as could be, set in my mind all the time on the things that I could see. But this thing inside of me always wanted more. I had life but wasn't alive. I wasn't sure what that meant. So I spent quite some time with the Buddha on my mind, drinking till I was blind, thinking I was just fine. But I think that's what we all say. And the wage of sin is death. That's just what it would cost me if I kept it going. But the Lord was showing me mercy. He never wanted to hurt me. I never did feel worthy, yet he wanted to reimburse me and rebirth me from the prison where I was living. And since he let me out the pen, my friend, I say your sins could be forgiven. No other name. So that's just that.
That's cool. That's your testimony and evangelist all at the same time. So that's pretty cool. So, all right. I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah,
and it was
definitely.
Really good. We had a really good conversation here. So, guys, you've been listening to the Millennium Beat with your host, Kevin James. I've been here with Evan Camacho. And I appreciate it. Evan, thank you very much for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you for having me, man.
All right, everybody else. Well, we'll catch you guys next week. Same time, same channel. Take care, and God bless. This has been a Millennium Beat production. Views and opinions of the guest are not always the views and opinions of the Millennium Beat. I want to introduce you to a new program we are starting in 2023. It's a program where people can contribute, sponsor, or become a super sponsor to help support what we do at the Millennium Beat. We are also developing a partner program to help reach our goals of reaching people. More information will be on our website, where you can fill out a form to become a sponsor or partner and make payments directly to us from our website.